What's up, fuckers? Welcome back to another episode of Hoggie's Beer. Now, before we get going, I want to say this. You guys may have noticed in the last few weeks we've really been having fun. We've been drinking a lot of shitty beer and fucking 40s and malt liquor. And I want to make sure that you guys don't start thinking that that's what this channel is about now or what it's becoming. No. See, I'm trying to cover the whole spectrum of beer. And sometimes it's malt liquor, sometimes it's an adjunct lager. And sometimes it's going to be a high-end Belgian quad or a California IPA. Because beer is beer, and I think most beers have a place even if they're shitty beers. So keep it in mind. We've been drinking some swill, but we're not going to always do that. Like today. Today's beer is something special, and this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. Take a look. Some of you know about this beer already. Some of you have seen it in the stores. Some of you have never heard of it or seen it before. I'll show you the 6-pack. This is called Estrella Damm, and this is a Spanish beer. And by Spanish, I properly mean Spanish as in the country of Spain. Now, let me put this back over here before I drop the 6-pack with my broken ass hand. Before I, actually fucking let me pull one out now. Take a look at the bottle, kind of a cool thing. I've never had this beer before. So, you know, this is gonna be a brand new experience for me. But now for a long time, probably for the better part of a year, I've wanted to do kind of a series on beers from Latin America. You know, beers from Spanish-speaking countries, beers from Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. Because unfortunately, I know most of you guys out there, when you think, you know, Latin beer, Spanish beer, you think Mexican beers, you think Dos Equis and Corona and shit like that. And me being in South Florida, I have access to a lot of Latin American beers that are imported, sometimes only to this area because it's the only place where they'll have a market. And since I know a lot of you guys aren't too familiar with the countries and cultures and just what's going on in Latin America, I figured I'd share those with you guys and we can talk a little bit about everything involving culture and stereotypes and ignorant people and all that kind of bullshit, right? Yeah, that's where we're going. Like I said, this is edutainment. So I figured what better way to start the Latin American beers, the beers from Spanish-speaking countries, than with a beer from the motherland. Not your motherland, my motherland. Because like most Cubans, maybe not most, but like a lot of Cubans, I can trace my ancestry directly back to the country of Spain. My grandparents, my great-grandparents, I should say, on both sides of my family were Spaniards. So I figure this is appropriate. Never had this beer before, we're going to have it now. Let me pop it open and get to it already. I've been talking too damn much. Pop it open. And, you know, I'm trying not to do like glasses and reviews on this channel, but I'm curious to does it say it on here? Yes. Good, I'll show you this before I pour it. Check it out. I'm curious to see what this beer looks like because they recently redid the label. It didn't used to be like that. But if you see right there, it says Estrella Damm from Barcelona. It says Cerveza Mediterranean beer de malta y arroz with malt and rice. It's telling you right on the label, malt and rice, and I want to see what the fuck that looks like. Probably doesn't look like much because if there's rice in there, that means it's an adjunct lager. So I don't have high expectations for this beer. Like I said, while we have access to a lot of beers from Latin America, most of them are garbage because they're made in the American mold of adjunct lagers, corn, and rice. Not necessarily a good thing. Now, this looks a little better than a fizzy yellow Budweiser, but not by much. But whatever, this isn't a review. Let's not go down that road. But like I said, it's the motherland. Some of you guys forget this. Some of you guys maybe didn't hear this in school. You skipped that class. But remember, even though the Protestants from like England and all those other European countries are the ones who founded America and the fucking 13 colonies and Plymouth Rock and all that shit, the rest of the Americas, the central part and South America and a lot of the Caribbean were really founded and built by Spain. The Spaniards. Remember Christopher Columbus? Yeah, he was a Spaniard. So, you know, it's a country that has really shaped the modern world. And Latin America. So, whatever. Enough of the history lesson. Here's a fucking beer. Let's drink it. Smells like an adjunct lager. Cheers to all my Hispanics, Latinos, Spanish speakers, and everybody else. I love you guys. Let's see. Almost 5 minutes before I took the first sip. Sorry, had a lot of ground to cover. And this tastes like a fucking adjunct lager. But it tastes like a rice beer. And I say that because it tastes like an Asian beer. It tastes like like fucking Tiger or like a Sapporo, because most Asian beers, they're all adjunct lagers and the adjunct is rice. So if you like those Asian lagers, if you like rice beers, this might be up your alley. Hey, look at that nice little bit of lacing there on the glass, wouldn't you know? Ooh, lacing, shit. That might turn people off. I don't want to get all fancy talking about lacing and shit. Like I said, guys, everything has its place. I like to show you beers like this because one day you might be at a restaurant and it might be on the fucking menu. You know what I mean? And this would go good with food. This would go good kind of at a barbecue kind of setting too, you know? It's an adjunct lager, it's light, it's fizzy, you know, hot, sweaty, barbecue, ball game, cutting grass, that kind of shit. So I mean, all in all, it's not bad. Just my opinion on what this is. But yeah. They actually have a quote. Let me see if I can. For the 2 or 3 of you who might know what the hell this means and who this guy is, Estrella Damm has always been my beer of choice. Apparently that's a quote from Ferran Adria of El Bulli. Some of you who watch shit like No Reservations and Mind of a Chef might know who Ferran Adria is and what El Bulli was. Apparently they got a thing going with him because you can collect Ferran Adria's and Alberto Adria's favorite tapas recipes. They have a tapas recipe. Why do I keep rolling the R on that? Tapas recipe on the side there for Joselito Air Baguette. Alright, I don't really care about Joselito's Air Baguettes. I don't think you do either. But for those who know, apparently Estrella Damm is now working with Ferran Adria, which is cool. Master chef, expert in gastronomy and just cooking that really high-end fancy foo-foo shit that I find interesting but would never pay for. But I figured I'd share that. And aside from that, yeah, man, you know, down here we're in South Florida. You know, I was raised in Miami, even though I'm originally from Las Vegas. I was raised in Miami, and now I live in Hollywood, which is literally 5 minutes from the Miami-Dade County line. And in this area, we just have such a mix of people, man. There's people from all over Latin America and the Caribbean here, and it's a great market for beers from those countries. Haitian beers, Bahamian beers, Trinidad beers, Costa Rican beers, Panamanian beers, Colombian beers, Venezuelan beers, Argentinian beers, all that shit. Every country has a fucking beer, or several. So I want to start sharing those with you guys, and you know, some of them I haven't tried before, so it'll be a fun experiment. I've never had this before, and it's actually not that disappointing. Pretty decent regular ass rice lager, you know. So just to kind of talk about that shit. Like I said, it's the motherland, not yours but mine. I would like to go one day, but trips to Europe cost a fuckload of money, and I'm a poor working boy. So not much else to say. Although I will go to Spain one day, because I want to take my son, let him see where his roots come from. And I guess not to get into like a larger social political thing. It's funny because unfortunately there is a lack of education and a lot of ignorance. What's my time here? Across America. Sadly, you know, especially on the internet, especially on YouTube, I've been called a beaner, I've been called a Mexican, I've been called a wetback, and Latinos from the Caribbean are the furthest thing from Mexicans. We share the same language, and our countries of origin were built by the Spanish, but we got a completely different thing going on. You know, to compare a Mexican to a Cuban is like comparing I don't know, somebody in like Minnesota of Scandinavian background, you know, cheese eating, you know, blonde haired kind of cat with like a Scottish descendant redneck in southern Georgia. You know what I mean? The histories are really, really fucking different. You know, one of them cooks hogs, the other one eats smelly cheese. Maybe that was a bad example, but you get my point. And unfortunately, there's a lot of ignorance and people kind of get it confused. I'm not going to tell you so much about Spanish culture because I don't know that much about Spanish culture other than the standards. They eat tapas, they love their seafood, paella and shit. You know, the bulls, running of the bulls and all that shit. And they're over in fucking Europe. They're like, they fathered the Americas and they stayed the fuck over there. The only Spanish speakers in Europe, the goddamn Spanish. Anyways, Antonio Banderas and shit, Penelope Cruz and shit. Yeah, them. Who else is Spanish and famous? Julio Iglesias and his little pussy ass son. Neither one of them can really sing. Both of them get a shitload of pussy. God damn it. Anyways. All in all, not a bad beer if you're into fucking ricey admin vloggers. And this is gonna be, there's no timetable for this series, by the way. But this is the first of the Spanish beers, man. There's more coming. I got a few in mind that I want to do very soon, if possible. I might take a pause. I might be doing a video from Vegas because I'm going this weekend. The shirts, I'm gonna start working on the shirts as soon as I come back from my trip. I come back from my trip on Tuesday and the cast comes off on Wednesday, so next week is going to be a good week. I get back to work, I do the shirts, I hit you guys up with more videos, and it's going to be fun. HoggieSpear.com, HoggieSpear on Facebook, Twitter, and Untapped. And you know the rest, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.